we only introduce 10 to 15 new products per year. Why can't we continue using our current rating and ranking scoring model to prioritize how we allocate our resources?
Well, first of all, if we look more closely at those projects, we can see that each one is really comprised of multiple projects. There is usually a shared platform or technology investment. Then there are one or more revenue-generating product derivatives. Sometimes there are related services or accessory products that must be developed, and that also contribute to the total system value of our commercial offerings. So, the 10 to 15 projects you are thinking of as our portfolio really break down into at least 20 to 30 project investments that require resources and management governance.
I see, but even 20 to 30 projects is not so many projects, compared to much larger organizations, right?
Yes, but those 20 to 30 projects were selected from a much larger pool of project investment candidates. We evaluated more than 50 new product opportunities, for which we developed project-level business cases. We always have many more project investment opportunities to evaluate than our current resource base can simultaneously support.
I understand what you are saying, but can we simply quantify the total investment needed for each project, and then prioritize these 50 or so projects based on their costs and benefits? Then, we can allocate resources to projects from the most attractive investments first, until we incur significant resource bottlenecks. We would forego the remaining less attractive projects that would require additional resources, beyond our current budget constraints.
Well, that's essentially what we have been doing for many years. In fact, we combine many financial and non-financial benefits with qualitative assessments of strategic fit and risk, total human resource costs, and upfront project expenditures into an overall project attractiveness score. By lumping all this information into a single score, we are losing a lot of important information needed for rigorous portfolio investment analysis. These projects require us to invest varying levels of many types of human resource skills, from different functional departments, as well as capital and operating expenditures, over many different time periods.
So, what you are saying is that there are many different types of people needed, in many different time periods, across many different project investments that will take place at different times over our planning horizon, right?
Exactly, and in addition, there can be inter-project dependencies that require certain project investments to be conducted concurrently, or with some order of precedence. In yet other cases, we are evaluating alternative projects that are mutually exclusive investments.
I see. This sounds like quite a challenge to make sure we are most efficiently allocating our resources to the best set of project investments.
Yes, it is indeed a complex optimization problem, and I have only told you about half of the issues that make our current scored ranking approach a completely flawed methodology.
Really? Why is that? It seems like we incorporate all of those aspects into the ratings that we score and then add up with some weighting coefficients in order to determine the overall attractiveness of each project investment.
We feel like we are incorporating all of these issues, but we are not modeling the period-by-period nature of how our development operations really work. Each project is scored only by how much total investment is needed and how much total benefit is generated. Then, we distort these financial measures with scores relating to strategic fit, risk, and other factors. Then, we present this scored ranking and various bubble charts to the executive team, and we argue about such things as whether or not the 7.6 scored project is really better than the 7.4 scored project. Furthermore, some senior managers don't feel that we properly chose the weighting coefficients, when the resulting prioritized ranking does not suit their emotional and/or political agendas.
Really? Are you saying that our senior management team does not agree on the prioritized rankings that the team has spent so much time rating financial, strategic, risk, and other factors, and then combining via weighting coefficients into the single overall attractiveness scores for our project investments?
No, they don't. Even though we have given them ample opportunity to provide their inputs on the weighting coefficients of the scoring formula and to validate the project ratings, They feel that their many years of experience and gut feelings offer better insights into the relative priority for our project investments.
I see. This is a major problem. What are the other half of the issues you alluded to that make our scoring approach a flawed methodology?
Well, let's pretend that somehow we were able to come up with a prioritized ranking of project investments that all parties agreed upon. And let's say that there are only 10 investment candidates, just to keep things simple for our discussion purposes.
Okay, sounds good.
Now, let's say that we allocate the resources needed for each of the top 6 highest-ranking projects, before we encounter some significant resource bottleneck deficits.
Okay, so far, so good.
Well, in this approach, the projects that are ranked 7, 8, 9, and 10 are not high enough priority to make it into the planning scenario due to resource constraints. Even though we are looking at the entire universe of candidate project choices, we are really looking at these projects as relatively ranked isolated investments.
What do you mean by that?
Well, if we consider the 2 lowest ranked project candidates, it could be that projects 9 and 10 combined may consume less total resources, and may produce much greater value than even the number 1 highest ranking project investment candidate.
You're right. That does not make sense to look at projects as isolated ranked investments, unless we are only trying to pick a single project to pursue. Interesting. Okay, you have my attention now. Tell me more.
Well, this illustrates the need to consider all permutations of how we could allocate our time, people, and monetary resources in order to maximize our aggregate financial performance, subject to our resource constraints.
I see. That actually makes good sense. You know, I remember that we had to do a homework problem like this in the quantitative methods course that I took back in my business school days. But I never thought I would actually use that analytical management science stuff.
This is not just an academic exercise. It turns out that we are leaving a lot of potential value creation on the table by not maximizing our aggregate business performance for our total resource investment. Trying to pick home-run isolated project investments really does not serve us nor our shareholders well.
You're right. When we conduct operations reviews, we really care about our total P&L performance each month and each quarter. Furthermore, the capital markets and our stockholders only care about our aggregate quarterly and annual earnings performance. They really don't care which individual products we launched, or how each project performed relative to other individual projects. Now that you mention it, our executive bonuses are tied to our total business unit financial performance. I'm starting to think we need a new methodology moving forward here. Is there anything else I need to know?
Well, I hate to sell past a yes, since you already seem convinced, but how about if we take a 5-minute bio break, and then I can come back and wrap up on a few important points.
Okay, sounds good. This is quite interesting, and I'm very impressed with your insights about this critical business management process. How did you become such an expert in this area?
It turns out that at my prior company, we worked with some experts from a management consultancy called Proxy Management Decisions.
So, they trained you on this domain expertise?
Yes, they initially worked with us to get this portfolio investment process up and running within only a few weeks. Then, they acted as our expert portfolio analyst resources and provided access to their powerful analysis and planning tools. After the initial planning cycle, they trained our internal process owner team, deployed their portfolio analysis tools in-house, and they mentored us through the first couple quarterly planning cycles. After that, we managed the process ourselves, but the proxy team was always available for ongoing support.
That's very impressive. What do you think about having them work with our team to support our portfolio investment analysis and planning process?
Actually, they are the 2 p.m. meeting scheduled on your calendar for this afternoon. I just wanted to prep you for what to expect in the discussion this afternoon.
Excellent. Great work, and I'm looking forward to discussing this further with you and the proxy team this afternoon.